talkSPORT. On air, online and on TV at Virgin Media Channel 927.
Football first with Ian Danter and Alvin Martin. Pleasure to have your company this Saturday evening. Bayern Munich are the European champions. They've won the Champions League against Borussia Dortmund, winning 2-1. Arjen Robben, bit of redemption for him with a winning goal late on. And Borussia Dortmund defender Mats Hummels has been speaking to our friends at Sky Sports News after losing tonight's big final.
It is kind of deserved for Bayern because they were the better team in the second half, but for us it's very, very hard and disappointing. The first 25 minutes we were the better team, but missed to score the goal we needed, and then you saw we getting a little bit tired in the last minutes because it was a hard and intense game, and so you see the goal. It's a little bit coincidence for them, but they made it really good, and so they get the cup, we don't. I think it's kind of the hardest games you can lose.
So what next for the Bundesliga and specifically for Pep Guardiola going into Bayern and the potential breakup of the Borussia Dortmund squad? Let's have a chat with CNN's World Sport Bundesliga expert Mark Lovell, who's with us on talkSPORT. Evening to you, Mark.
Good evening, Ian. How are you?
Extremely well, thanks, Mark. Appreciate you coming on tonight. That was a great final, wasn't it?
Absolutely. It lived up to all expectations, and as you said, Bayern deservedly won. It was, it was a tight affair, late Robben goal. I mean, I thought there could have been 2 red cards for Bayern, but maybe I'm a little bit extreme there. Dante obviously conceded the penalty, and another referee might have given him the second yellow there, and we had Ribery in the first half with a stray elbow, and on another day that is a red card, but the referee chose not to give the decisions, and Bayern ended up winners.
I'd agree with that, Mark. I don't think there's a case certainly to be made for 2 reds, and I agree with what you've said there. I don't like to see people getting sent off, so if there's a benefit of the doubt, I'd always think I'd like to err on the side of that benefit of doubt, because you don't want to be seeing 10 versus 11 in a final of that sort of significance. But when we look at Bayern, we look at Dortmund, and the way they've played in the competition this year, they've been head and shoulders above everybody. The concern, I think, on these shows now is that the German model that's in place is going to get stronger, and it could be a real problem for the rest of Europe.
Well, as you say, Alvin, you look at, Bayern, this is they've got the double now, Champions League to go along with the Bundesliga. They're only going to get stronger. You have to feel that Guardiola's, he's apparently the best coach in the world, and he's got a lot to work with in Munich, and they can only go from strength to strength. And Dortmund, they're up and coming side, champions in the Bundesliga in 2011 and 12. A brilliant coach in Jurgen Klopp. This is, Bundesliga is going to be where it's at the next few years, and it's no surprise that the likes we read about these headlines in the papers, the likes of Suarez, Wilshere, Bale, Rooney getting linked to Bayern. Obviously, football's still an 11-a-side game. They can't play all of these stars, but the Bundesliga is going to be the league in the next few years.
You say that, Mark. Just let me throw this one at you, because Jurgen Klopp clearly is a much-loved figure and a very good coach. But he did finish 25 points behind Bayern in the league this year. Pep Guardiola coming in to the club, so the perception is that Bayern are only going to get stronger than those teams around them. Is this the end of the Dortmund-Bayern feud, with Götze on his way, Lewandowski seemingly also on his way out the door?
I'm a little bit worried. This is going to be a one-way traffic in the Bundesliga for the next few years. I know that Dortmund have really been a really strong competitor for Bayern in the last few years, but this is my worry that, Bayern under Guardiola and from the summer they're going to be too strong for the rest of the Bundesliga, and it's going to be a little bit boring, I would say. But that's a hard thing to say in the light of their brilliant triumph tonight. But that's all for the future, and that will be revealed.
What about the financial vehicle that's in place? The blueprint that is the Bundesliga. We've got Bayern and Dortmund who've made the final, but below that, I know that Dortmund, even with the financial constraints that were put on a lot of the clubs, and I totally agree with what they do. They have an audit, don't they, every season, and the German authorities check that they've got the right income, the right outgoings, and then in a healthy state to be able to participate within that league. And if they don't meet these stringent guidelines, they actually aren't allowed to play in the competition. So that's been going on now for, I think, 10 years or something like that, Mark. But even with that, Dortmund did nearly go out of business. So why can that happen when you've got already a business plan from the authorities in place?
Well, it was after their last Champions League win in 1997, and they went to the stock exchange and really spent money that they didn't have, and they were reliant on the likes of Bayern Munich to lend them some money to get out of trouble, and it was a bit of a fairy tale rise from the ashes again. But Dortmund is now on solid footing. But there are episodes of clubs not always been run in the right fashion, and it does happen, and it ends in relegation, and the clubs fall through the leagues.
Well, I think of Wolfsburg a few years ago, who bought their way to the title with a massive injection of cash under Armin Veh, got into the Champions League. There seemed to be the whole thought that the Wolfsburg model was going to work. Next thing you know, Zeko sold, Graffiti sold, they fall away, and there they are. They finished the season in 11th place this year, when they flirted with relegation since winning the league.
Absolutely. Wolfsburg are supported by the Volkswagen Corporation. We have Bayer Leverkusen, which is supported by the massive pharmaceutical concern. So these are big companies behind these clubs. It's not always, they're like in the England way of doing things at Chelsea, a rich individual. Sometimes in Germany they have big, massive corporations supporting these clubs with the likes of Wolfsburg and Leverkusen.
It's all about the competition, Martin, whether it can continue. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. Appreciate it.
All the best, Ian. Thanks very much.
Mark Lovell, CNN's World Sport Bundesliga expert. I'd like to take a